week. This is a video for Edinburgh class with some new English home learning for this week of the 27th of April. So this week, and for the next few weeks, we're going to be having a look at this book, The Tin Forest by Helen Ward. So this is the front cover of the book. I'll just give you a few minutes to have a little look at the front cover, see what you notice, what kind of things you can see on there. So most of that picture you can see there is made of metal, but there's just a slight little bit of a plant growing there that's not metal. And we won't be reading all of the book today, but as the next couple of weeks goes on, we'll get to the end of the book and then I will read it all through for you. So let's have a little read of the story that we're going to look at this week, the part that we're going to read this week. There was once a wide, windswept place, near nowhere and close to forgotten, that was filled with all of the things that no one wanted. Right in the middle was a small house with small windows that looked out on other people's rubbish and bad weather. In the house lived an old man. Every day he tried to tidy away the rubbish, sifting and sorting, burning and burying. And every night the old man dreamed. He dreamed he lived in a jungle full of wild forest animals. There were colourful birds, tropical trees, exotic flowers, toucans and tree frogs and tigers. But when he awoke, his world outside was still the same. Now that's all we're going to read of this story so far, because I want us to have a think about this old man. They're in his old house there, reading in his books, tidying away the rubbish and having those lovely dreams that he has. Now what I want us to do this week is we're going to create an interview. We're going to interview the old man in the story, The Tin Forest. Now an interview is a set of questions which we ask the old man, followed by the answers that he might give. But we'll need to use our imaginations a little bit when we think about what he might say. Okay, so in an interview, we ask questions. Questions begin with a question word. Pause the video while you just have a little think. How many question words can you think of? Okay, let's have a look at a few ideas of question words that you might have chosen. Who, when, what, where, why. They're the ones that you probably thought of first. But we can have other ones like would, could and should, or do you, or can, and you might have other ones. There's lots of different ways that you can start questions. Question sentences will begin with one of these question words and then they will end with a question mark. So there's the question mark in case you've forgotten what it looks like. So we're going to have a look at some sentences and you're going to see if you can identify which of these sentences are question sentences and spot where the question mark should have been used. Remember that they will all need the capital letters putting in too. Okay, pause the video while you have a look at these 9 sentences and see if you can fix their punctuation. Can you spot which ones are questions and which ones are not? The ones that are questions will need the question marks put in with them, and if they're just statement sentences, they'll just need a full stop. But remember, you'll need to put in those capital letters too to start your sentences and for the proper nouns, the names of the people, the names of the places. Okay, let's check. These are what you should have got for your sentences if you fix them. So we needed a capital W here for the question word would. Would you like to come to my party? And that was a question, so it needed a question mark on the end. The next one, David and Jane saw a puppy for sale. David and Jane needed their capital letters because they were names, but this wasn't a question, so that just needed a full stop. This next one was a question. Why do I have to do my homework? So that needed a question mark on. So was this one. How much do those apples cost? Remember that needed a question mark. On Wednesday, I am going to the museum in London. That's a statement, so that just needed a full stop. But remember, we needed a capital here for Wednesday as well as at the start of the sentence, because Wednesday is the name of a day of the week. Sunita had a baby and named him John. That's just a statement with a full stop. Capital for John and for Sunita. Have you ever been to America? Question. Remember, capital letter for the place name. Cinderella thought that Prince Charming was handsome. Full stop. And then the last one here, which was a question. Would you prefer chips or baked potato? Question mark at the end. Okay, so now let's have a think about this old man in the story. What kind of questions could we ask him? Try and think of at least 6 different questions that you might want to ask him. You can rewind the video if you need to have a look back at the story and see what kind of things you might want to ask him. Remember, question mark, question words to start and your question marks to come at the end. Either pause the video and write down your 6 questions, or rewind the video back to the part of the story and come back when you've got your 6 questions. Okay, so this is one that I've thought up that we might have had. I'm sure you've got lots of really good questions that you might have. What type of things do you collect from the rubbish? That's what I'd like to ask the old man. So I started here with my question word what, making sure I had a capital letter. What type of things do you collect from the rubbish? Okay, so now we've got our 6 questions, we're going to start to think about what the old man might say as his answer to these questions. So this is where you'll need to act out a little bit in role. You might have to use a friend, a family member at home to help you practice different ideas for answers that the old man might give. So I've got one here. What types of things do you collect from the rubbish? Well, this is what I kind of think the old man might say. Well, every day I'm busy collecting things like pipes and engine parts and wires. It's hard work and I have to do lots of sifting and sorting. So I had to think about what the old man might say here. I didn't just put down a couple of words like pipes or engine parts. I tried to make it into a sentence as if I was talking like the old man, make it a little bit more interesting to listen to. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is to try and answer all of the questions that you've asked the old man. Act it out, like I said, with a family member first, if you like. When you've answered all of the questions, acting as the old man, so you've got 6 questions and 6 answers, you can work on presenting your interview using an interview format. So, for example, you might choose to set your interview out in one of these ways. Title an interview with the old man in the forest. So the first way you could do it is to use this layout. Q for question with a colon. What types of things do you collect from the rubbish? If that's your question. And then start a new line. A for answer. Well, every day I'm busy collecting things like pipes and engine parts and wires. It's hard work and I have to do lots of sifting and sorting. So you could set it out as a question and answer interview. That's the first thing you could do. The second way you might set it out is to give the characters a name. I've realised I missed a letter out there. So interviewer, that's the person asking the questions. What types of things do you collect from the rubbish? And then you could name him, instead of the answer this time, you could put old man. Well, every day I'm busy collecting things, and so on. You might call this interviewer, could be you, you might be the interviewer here, you could put your own name. That's another way you could do it. Third way that you could do it is using speech bubbles. So this is the person doing the interviewing, the interviewer. Using a speech bubble, what's the question that you ask? Put your question into there. And then here, this is the old man from the story. This is the answer that he's giving. And you might put that into his speech bubble. And then you could do the same underneath. You could have another drawing of the interviewer and another drawing of the old man with their speech bubbles. Whichever way you choose to do it, I'd love to see some of your work. Please send it to me by email, take a photograph of it, and I'll try and save it for when we're back at school to show everybody. Have fun creating your interview. Stay safe. Bye for now.